Okay, this is odd for me to do because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not somebody who is like posting their whole life online. Like I do post a lot, but I don't share all the details. But I think the next step for me in running She Can Profit is talking about what it's like to homeschool while I'm also running a business, while I'm also working for somebody else. And so I wanted to start talking about that. I want to put stuff on YouTube, and so I am making a video, and we'll see how it goes. I went to my first homeschool conference over the weekend, and it was amazing. It was different for me. I wasn't homeschooled for more than a year or two growing up, and so I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of a homeschool community. I'm not a traditional homeschooler in that I'm working while I'm homeschooling. I also am not somebody who's continuing something that my family has done. My husband was homeschooled, I was not. So it was new for me to consider going to a conference. And then I saw an advertisement for the North Carolina homeschool, or NCHE, North Carolinians for Home Education conference ad on Facebook, I think. And I checked it out and I was like, I've got to go to this. It was only $30 to go on the Saturday. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday event. And I chose just to do Saturday because I didn't have childcare for any of the other days due to my husband's work schedule. And so I decided to go. It was $30 for a couple. So my husband could have come with me if we had childcare for one day for $30. Super cheap. It was an hour's, 45 minutes drive, honestly, without traffic. And so I went, I showed up at 8:30 to register or to check in because I had pre-registered. And then we had a keynote speaker, Todd Wilson. I forget his business name. I can tell you in a minute because I've got some of his stuff in here. He gave a wonderful keynote address on the 4 personality types of homeschool moms. And it was just really encouraging and eye-opening about my own personality. I feel like, because it's my first official year homeschooling this past year, and because it wasn't a typical year, we were living with family, I'm working, we moved midway. We're technically behind 2 months because we were sick for 2 months out of the year and then with moving. So it was just really crazy year, and it was non-traditional year. And so it was good to hear the different types of personalities for homeschool moms that he has seen. And he has 8 kids and his wife homeschools. And so it was just really encouraging to be encouraged in your personality type. And my friend Kelly was next to me. She has 4 kids and she's been homeschooling and was homeschooled. And so she has a lot more experience. And it was just so good to be in a room full of people, and we're all homeschooling and just being encouraged together, moms and dads. And it was just an overall great experience. I went to 2 of the breakout sessions, one on how to start a co-op because I'd like to do that in my area, and then I went to one by Vicki Bentley, and it was about how to teach habit train your children without struggling. And that is something that I have struggled with. When it comes to doing housework and things like that, I have an ADHD type personality where I'm like, oh, I see that this needs done. I see it because it's all in my head. And so because I'm all in my head, I just do too much. But her talk was like, I felt like I was sitting in the 2000s. I don't know if anybody else has this experience where I have rose-colored glasses about the late 90s and early 2000s because as a child, it just felt so perfect to me. I had a very blessed and privileged childhood. I'm not talking about financially, although that was part of the privilege, but just to have parents who kept our childhood a childhood and truly worked to keep us innocent, to keep us without worry. And so the 2000s just have this glow to me. And what she was talking about truly reminded me of that feeling when I would come home from school and my mom had cleaned the house and the house smelled like Pine Sol. And I loved when mom would clean with Pine Sol because it just always smelled so good and the house smelled amazing. And so that it gave me that home feeling when she was talking about doing chores with your kids, how to get them to do it with you and not fight against you. And it just felt like I had entered a new era of mothering and parenting and homeschooling. So it was all great. The vendor sessions were, well, I actually skipped a breakout session because there was only 30 minutes between sessions, and when the vendors were available all day. But if you wanted to go to the breakout sessions, there's only 30 minutes between each breakout session, and that was just simply not long enough. And so I missed the first breakout session because I was so enraptured with the booths and the tables, and I was talking to people about curriculum because I'm looking for a different curriculum for my daughter, and it was just so cool. As somebody who's a book nerd and just a learning nerd, I always tell my husband, I would go to school for the rest of my life to just go to class, to earn degrees. Like, I love school so much. I love learning. And so to go to a homeschool conference where there's so many books, there's so many different curriculums, like, it was just like a fantasy dream. So it was just so much fun. But I wanted to show you guys the stuff that I came home with and talk about my experience with the vendors, because it was so encouraging. I talked to so many people, and if you're not familiar with homeschooling, maybe this will give you an eye into what it's like to homeschool. Maybe it will encourage you to try to homeschool yourself, even though you work from home. And if you do homeschool, maybe this just encourages you and helps you to carry on. So I'm gonna sip of coffee really quick. So the first vendor that I went to, I don't remember the name because there were so many, and there was different publishing houses that were there. Some of them were smaller, some of them were bigger. So we're just gonna go with the books that I got. If I remember the vendor name, then I'll tell you. The first one that I went to had a couple books, and I'm gonna try to not drop these on my toes. I think I'm missing some. There they are. Okay, so this is a North Carolinians for Home Education is a Christian homeschool membership group, but you don't have to be a Christian to be a part of it. You don't have to be a Christian to go to the conference or anything like that. And there are some secular breakout sessions. There were some secular vendors there, but by and large, the homeschool community is largely a Christian community. And so most of the vendors there were Christians. So I got some books. I'm super excited about them. This one is called Taste and See. It's all about God's goodness, and it's by Irene Sun. And let's see if the light is gonna glare too much. It is just beautiful artwork, and that's what drew me to it. But I think that my daughter will struggle with believing in God's goodness. And there's nothing that's happened that's been like, it's not like she's asked me questions like, why does God allow this to happen, and things like that. But I can see her mind working. She has not made a profession of faith yet, but I can see her mind working things out. And I think, knowing her personality, that she might struggle with the goodness of God. And so I wanted to get this book. I'm gonna put the others down and show you the inside of this. I should have opened it. It might be a little long video, so I might have to edit this, but I got this book for that reason. But also, looking at it, the artwork was truly beautiful. This is the inside of the cover. And it's a part of a series of biblical theology for kids, and good artwork is underrated. So it has a picture of the world, but I don't know if you can tell that the world is, the land masses are made out of food. And it says, some sons and daughters, come and see how God's story came to be. Darkness roamed over the deep. Everything was fast asleep. It talks about how God made light, and then a picture of Adam and Eve running through Eden. It's a poem, but it goes through Moses in Egypt. It's a story of the gospel. This one, I got a little teary-eyed, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing them singing. I'm not gonna cry in my first video. It says, taste and see his steadfast love, honey wafers from above. And it's talking about the manna that he gave the Israelites in their wanderings. So I am super excited to just have this book available to her to read herself when she's old enough, but also to read to her now to help her understand that there is goodness and God is the giver of good. So next book is, I should have taken the plastic off. It's God Made All of Me. I recently found Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior at a Goodwill. And I'm so thankful that I found it at Goodwill because it is a pricey book for being a smaller book. But I wanted it because it talks about what teaches your kids what to do if they see good pictures or bad pictures. And so I wanted it, but I also wanted to get this book, God Made All of Me, because it's a book to help children protect their bodies. And I don't think anything's going to happen to my child, but should anything ever attempt to be happening, I want her to be prepared. And my 2.5-year-old as well, once he's old enough. But so it's just about how God made all things. He made your arms, your eyes, your hands. And it's just a theology of the body, essentially. So I'm really excited to read that one too. But this, from this particular vendor, I think it was like Grace, New Grace Books, maybe. I wish I knew. I should have organized this a little bit better. But they had this deal for these books for $55 for all three. Separately, they were about $22 a piece. So I saved a few bucks. But I have been wanting these books for a long time. And I'm really thankful that I didn't have to buy them on Amazon and that I could just get the deal from a small publisher. Well, I guess it's a book dealer, not necessarily a publisher. But it is a series that my friend Felicia Masonheimer has recommended. And I need to make another video about the curriculum that we're using because that will help explain why I'm using these. But we are using, our base is Ambleside Online, and they recommend just reading the Bible, which is fine, and I plan to do that eventually. But, and then having your child narrate what you read to them, because it's a Charlotte Mason curriculum, and you focus on narration to make sure that they are comprehending the information and understanding it, which is excellent. It's great for preparation for college. But I find that it's not working for me to just read the Bible right now. And I want to kind of focus in and hone on some ideas. And I had also wanted these books. And so for Ambleside Online, I'm going to personally, for us, replace the Bible lesson with this. It's a devotional. It's called Ology, and it's Ancient Truths Ever New by Marty Machowski. And not only are the illustrations beautiful, but it goes through different theologies. So hold on. Theology of God, people, sin, theology of the promise and the law, theology of Christ, the Holy Spirit, adoption into God's family, change, church, end times, and God's word. It's roughly 250 pages long, and I really like it. So they do have this. It's a little story to talk about where it all begins. And then eventually you get past the stories. Oh, it talks about my angels really look like. And then you get into, eventually. Oh wait, maybe it's a different book. I'm thinking of, one of the other books. But for this one, it's more of just a story. It's not reading the Bible first, but it's beautiful and I'm excited about it. This one, The Treasure, Ancient Story Ever New of Jesus and His Church. But this one, you read, so this one says read Luke 15, 1 through 10. And then you read this, and then you talk about it. And I think this will just help us hone in on things we're going to be learning and facets of God. And so I wanted to hone in on those things and pull them out of the scripture instead of me just reading it. I haven't always been great about doing Bible time during homeschool. It feels somewhat structureless to me when I'm just reading the Bible. And so I think this will help me hone in on things for that age, but also help her hone in on the truths that I'm wanting her to learn. So The Treasure and Theology, they're both by Marty Machowski, but then there's also this one, which is wonderful, Ancient Psalms Ever New. And it goes through the Psalms, which is a good little study. I think we might start this one during the summer because it's the shortest one out of all of them. But you can see the illustrations. It's a lot of words. Ambleside Online focuses on the parents reading to their children, doing read-alouds, free reads eventually when the children are old enough. And so this fits perfectly. I don't mind reading aloud to my children. But just good artwork, good Christian work, and that's why I wanted them. Got them for a steal. What to do? I walked around. The next place that I went to was Demi Learning. Look at their catalog. So Demi Learning is the parent company of Machowski, Spelling UC, Write Shop, and Analytical Grammar. They did not have anything to buy. That's why I'm just showing you the catalog. But Demi Learning. And I have been using the Good and the Beautiful level 1 math and language arts. They're not terrible. They're not working for me. And I don't think they're working for my daughter, even though she's retaining the information. I'm not convinced that it's what she needs. So, one second, it's getting a little dark in here. Ooh, that might be worse. I'm not sure that it's working for us. I think part of the problem is each day is something different. I told the Machowski lady, I was like, I feel like I am on a math journey with a schizophrenic. That it's just all over the place. And that's not great for somebody who has who has a discipline for themselves personally. When it comes to homeschooling, I have to discipline myself really harshly. And so for everything to be all over the place, I don't need that. And so it hasn't been great for us, but it's what we have. And so I've been using it, and we're going to finish out over the summer because we are a little bit behind. And then in the fall, we're going to switch to something different. And I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be yet. I have a feeling I'm going to use Spelling UC, but they explained it so well. They were so gracious to me. They understood. The lady I was talking to had previously used the Good and the Beautiful herself, and so she understood. But it is a complete K through 12 program. It's mastery-based, it's student-paced, multi-sensory, and instructor-friendly. It seemed very simple for the elementary years. I didn't look at anything else because I'm not in that season yet. But essentially, you watch a video, you and the child watch the video for the lesson, and then you have the child do the workbook page, and then you just continue on. And if the child hasn't mastered it yet, you don't continue on. You keep learning the concept until they've mastered it, and then it builds on that. And it's a very linear process. The Good and the Beautiful, for example, this week we worked on hexagons, halves and quarters, like fractions essentially, and counting by fives, and what else was there? I mean, it was just a new thing each day. And I don't like that, only because it's hard for me to see the linear growth. And maybe that's great for somebody who is a teacher, and it is teacher developed, so I'm sure that was great for them. But for a parent who's doing the teaching, I wanted to see a more linear progression of mastery, and Good and the Beautiful is not mastery based. whatsoever. And so that wasn't working for us. But it comes with instructor materials, lesson videos, practice worksheets, test and review worksheets. It is set to be a 5-day. I'm sure that your family could work it into 4 days. Like, I know we want to be a 4-day a week or 4-day school, 4 school days a week type of family, where Friday is more focused on enrichment than it is on lessons. And so that, I'm sure that we can figure that out. They have all of this. I'm sorry if this is going to be a super long video. I can make it a 2-parter if I need to. There are different manipulatives. I was looking for a math with more manipulatives. The Good and the Beautiful, it has some manipulatives, but I find it to be not super helpful. Like, they have little clocks that are printed out, and you're supposed to order the clocks from earliest to latest, assuming that all the times are in the morning. It's just very vague on some things. They have these little ships that you play these little games with. And for us, they want my daughter to color things, and she does not enjoy coloring like other children might enjoy coloring. And so for her, she was just like, I just don't want to color it. It's not helping me learn it. So I think if you have an art-based kid who loves creativity, loves beautiful things like that, that would be perfect for you. But for us, my daughter's more analytical. She's more STEM based in her thinking. She loves science. She loves math. She loves learning facts. And the Good and Beautiful is Charlotte Mason inspired technically, but I don't feel like it's a Charlotte Mason curriculum whatsoever. So math UC was really great. I do want to do spelling UC because the Good and Beautiful, like I said, is not a mastery based curriculum. And I should have brought her homeschool curriculum up here to talk about it, because there's so many different parts with the Good and the Beautiful, and it doesn't feel mastery based, even though I think they would argue that it is. It just doesn't feel like it's truly mastery based. But also everything, even in the language arts curriculum, every day is a new thing, and it does build on itself. But then it's like a stop and go, because you have to work your way up to a section in this book, and then you can able to work in the workbook. So I don't like that. It's just not working for us. From math or spelling UC, I wonder if they have a sample of what it looks like here. With spelling UC, they focus a lot more, as you're teaching your children to spell and to read, they focus a lot more on vowel blends and learning to spot them. And the Good and the Beautiful does not do that. And so my daughter has struggled to spot vowel blends, and that's why I really like spelling UC. I have a deep, deep desire for my children to be good writers, good speakers, and good readers. And it all begins with good readers. And so learning to read well is very important to me, and it is something that I place a lot of value on. So it doesn't look like they have any kind of sample page in there, but I will try to share anything that I find. So that was Math UC and Spelling UC. Let's get back to the books, because that's what you're here for. I found this cooking curriculum, which I believe in teaching your children how to do things for life. My mom taught us how to do laundry. She taught us how to cook. She taught us how to do all those things. And it wasn't like, I was homeschooled, so it wasn't like I was doing these things on a super regular basis or as part of my life all the time. But my mom made sure that we cooked together, and my daughter has been asking to cook more with me. I've struggled with that, honestly, because I have a 2.5-year-old who also wants to cook with me. And it's just difficult sometimes when you work from home to start dinner at the same time each night. My husband works long hours, so I'm not sure when he's getting home, and I'm trying to get dinner ready and be hot for him when he gets home. And so it's just been difficult. And I've failed at including her, especially in the cooking process. My son makes eggs with me every morning, so he's included. He cracks the eggs really well for me. But this one is called Growing Time Cooking. I got the desserts curriculum. She did have a complete large book. It was about $190 for the convention price. of all of their different cooking books, but I just wanted the desserts one. I can have her cook dinner with me. I didn't want to use the recipes in the other books, but desserts is always fun. So let's start with this recipe, brownie batter dip. So it talks about, pages are kind of shiny, but you can't really see, the class objectives here. And then it talks about the ingredients. I love that this is what convinced me to buy it, was that the ingredients are in a picture form as well as a written form, so that they could practice reading, but also visually make that connection with what the word is talking about. It talks about how chocolate is made, because we're making brownie batter dip, which includes chocolate. It talks about cocoa, cream cheese, the process of making butter, and cream and butter. Milk, what it does for our bones, where it comes from. It also talks about the ingredient reference guide. And then it's step-by-step instructions with pictures. God bless them. And then it has a finished product, tells you how to store it. Lesson morsels, so where chocolate comes from, cocoa comes from, ingredient facts, nutrition facts. And then at the very end, it has these questions that you can ask your child. If you have one child, or you want to make copies of this, I would fill this out if I only have one child, and then we could complete it at the end of the year. But because I have more than one child, I'll probably want to use this again. And so I will probably not fill this out. I will probably just ask the questions and then write down that they got them right. And then you can cut these out and place them where they go. I would make a copy of this personally. And then that's the end of the lesson. And so then it has all these different recipes that they can make. And it teaches kids how to cook, but it also teaches them science. So it's kind of like a home economics, more traditional home economics or home science type of curriculum. That was growing time cooking. Let's see. We had couple things. Show this really quick. Paper Pie, formerly Usborne Books, there was a vendor there. She's out of Cary. And so I got a few books. I was looking for stuff for my son to do while I'm doing school with my daughter. I didn't really find a whole lot, but I did find some books. So for art, I can draw animals. I wanted it to be simple to start out with, because she is not a colorer, and so I know that she gets frustrated when things don't look perfect. And so it's a very simple, I can draw animals drawing book. For my son, I got 16 stained glass dinosaurs, and this was just super cool, so I had to get it. But each page is a translucent page with a drawing on it, and they color it in. You rip it out and you put it in the window and you tape it up, and the light will show through it like stained glass. I also got from Paper Pie, I got my daughter her own stained glass, which was less cartoonish. It was more like a window. And then I also got something else, I just don't remember. There was another small, I don't think it was a publishing house. I think it was just a small bookshop vendor. I got her some I Can Read books. These are Christian I Can Read books. We have the other two princesses in this storyline, and I got her these two to finish out the storyline for her as a little surprise gift thing. This was one of my favorite finds for my daughter because she loves Mycraft, and I need to figure out where this comes from before I share this, because it's going to be super important, because you might want this for your own child. This was just so cool to me. Oh, it's got it in here. That's what it is. So my daughter loves building with Mycraft. But she also loves rocks, and she's obsessed. So this comes from Cornerstone Educational Supply. It's a Christian organization. So cool. If you know what this is a Minecraft inventory, and in this inventory specifically, it is just rocks and gemstones. And so each rock and gemstone has a number. So number 1 is granite, and it is connected to this little thing of rock. So it looks like we might, oh, there's one that got rearranged. So for each one that connects to something in Minecraft. So let's take number what's this one? 19. 19 on here is copper. And where's the page go? Hold up. You look at this page, you find number 19, it's copper. And then that's what it is in Mycraft. You read what it is in the real world. It's copper also. And so you get to look at it and you get to see, oh yeah, that's copper. But then it talks about where it's from. So this copper comes from Michigan and it's from the Proterozoic period. And then it tells you the description of what the rock is and then how it's used most commonly. But then it has this, and this is my favorite part. So because it's a Christian organization, it is not, they don't believe in evolution. And at least in the sense that like we evolved from shrimp or something like that. And so I said it was from the Proterozoic period. What you do is you come on here and you find the Proterozoic eon right there. On this side, it talks in millions of years versus thousands of years ago, which Christians usually believe that if it's a new earth, the earth is only about like 10,000 years old, I guess, at max. Even some older creationists they kind of max out around 20,000 years old. So it's just talks about what was happening on the biblical timeline compared to a millions of years ago timeline. And so during the Proterozoic eon, it is right before the beginning of Noah's flood. And so it's just really cool to connect the rock to Minecraft, but also connect it to the Bible and time period. And so she loved it. It was $35 for the convention. I don't know what it is for non-convention prices, but if you're kidless, Minecraft, go to Cornerstone Educational Supply. It is so much fun. Let's see. Okay. Oh, let me go through these different catalogs. The Rainbow Resource Center, this is our brand new catalog for 2024, curriculum guide and catalog. They have a ton of curriculum. And so they don't publish, they may publish their own, but I think they are more like a Barnes and Noble type thing for Christian resources. So if you have a curriculum that you like, they probably have a ton of it. It's a very thick catalog. I'm probably going to enjoy looking through it. Not going to use half of it or even a quarter of it, but Rainbow Resource Center is another one. Let's see. This guy, I did not buy anything from this booth, but it's called Edible Knowledge. It's very similar to the Growing Thyme cooking curriculum that I got. It was less professionally made, but it looked very scientific. So, yeah, it was more science focused. You did bake stuff, but it was more focused on the science and less on the cooking, which might be good for my daughter later, but I really wanted the other one. This guy was creation tours. So they go to museums in Greensboro, Raleigh, and Washington, D.C. Excuse me. And they tour, it says teaching the world of God through the word of God. And so they will take you to a regular museum that's focused on millions of years ago and evolution and things like that. And then they will talk about it from a biblical perspective. So if you can't get to the Creation Museum and you're in North Carolina or Washington, D.C., this might be for you. Okay, what's this one? That one I'm really excited to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about it yet. What's this? Christian Light was another publishing house. I think this is, I want to say this is with Mennonites, because I know the ladies working the booth were Mennonites. It is a full curriculum that they publish, and it was, yes, it is the Mennonite based. All the girls are in those dresses like that, which is fine. It's just not the curriculum that I wanted, maybe for some support materials, things like that, but Christian Light education, so depending on how conservative you are, might be for you. Love my Mennonite brothers and sisters in Christ. Love you guys. It's just not for us. I'm clearly in a tank top. Okay. Let's see. this lady looked really interesting, and I couldn't buy anything because I was like, I'm spending way too much money, and these look interesting. My daughter can't read them yet, and I would have to read them to her, and I really want to read the books that are for her curriculum with Ambleside rather than just the free reads. I don't feel like I could do both. So this is National Park Mystery Books by Mary Morgan, and she had a lot of books. In the back of the book, they did show me that there's actual pictures of kids, so the kids get to see get to help imagine them, what the children look like. So Stolen Treasures at Pictured Rocks, The Face at Mount Rushmore, Spies in Disguise at Gettysburg, Snowden at Yellowstone, Twisted Trails in Grand Canyon. Like, it's just really fun. And I would probably still keep this so I can order them later because it looked like it would be something that she liked. Ming Creative Art. This was a upper elementary, middle school, high school art thing, and it looked really interesting. But again, my daughter doesn't like to color, so she's not quite there yet. Let's see, what's this? New Growth Press. That is the one that had the wonderful, and then the treasure, and then Theology. That was the name of the company that did that. They had a lot of books that I really liked. I would have bought them all if I could have. Truly would have. They had a lot of books for ministry people. So if you're in ministry and you need encouragement, that would be for you. They had books on miscarriage. They had books on infertility. They had a lot of stuff, and it was so much fun. Oh, that's it. And then Christian Light Education, the other one, they also had this magazine that I picked up. So thought I would read it. Interesting. Let's see. Okay, so Todd Wilson. Oh, hold on. So first of all, the Growing Thyme had this little pamphlet, the different skills that children will be able to do based on their ages, and I thought it was so cute. I'm gonna hang it up on my fridge. I stopped by, or wait, hold on. They also gave us these little spoons for the kids. They're so precious. So there's that. Stopped by the AOP booth. It was rather large. I think AOP is the parent company, but they also had, they had Horizons and Life Pack. AOP has its own curriculum, but they gave us this little inflatable globe. My kids are gonna love it. Let's see. So Todd Wilson, this was something that I wanted to get. So in his talk, he talked about incorporating fun into your homeschool day. Hold on. I struggle with that. As somebody who works from home, I just want to get it done because I want to make sure that they're learning, and I want to make sure that it's being done well, and I want to be focused and just get it done. And so I struggle to be fun during the day. It's not my personality. I'm not this enthusiastic person. I felt so seen when Jordan Peterson was talking about his dad and the personality test that Jordan Peterson created. Tested that his dad had low enthusiasm, and I was like, I think that's me. Like, I don't have, like, there's things that I have enthusiasm about, and there's ideas that I'm enthusiastic about. So like, I'm very justice oriented. I'm very focused on fairness. I'm very focused on right versus wrong, black versus white, ideas like wrong and right things. And then just so like, get enthusiastic about that stuff. I'm almost finished with my master's in Holocaust and genocide studies. So there's things that I'm passionate about and high enthusiasm on, but I'm very low enthusiasm on a lot of other things. Like I enjoy sitting in my house and reading a book on a beautiful day. I look outside sometimes and I'm like, oh, it's beautiful reading weather inside. And I was like, I'm pretty boring. I think a lot of people would consider me boring, but I'm just not high enthusiasm. I don't crave like daily change and daily adventure. I'm like, I want big adventures. I want to go on vacation. I want to tour Europe. I want to do all those things, and I'm enthusiastic about that. But as far as like my day-to-day, I just low enthusiasm. And so Todd Wilson had this little spinner that is, his company is called the Smiling Homeschooler. And so it says spin for smiles once a week, and it applies to everyone. So go out to lunch, skip the subject of your choice, do a cleanup project instead of school, invite a friend over, read aloud a good book, build a puzzle together, stop for lunch 30 minutes early, watch a movie for school, no school today, which is thankfully a very tiny one, play a game of your choice, stay in PJs all day, make popcorn and eat it during school, which I was enthusiastic about that. And so there's just all of those. And then, so once a week, I'm going to have my daughter spin it. And for that week, we're going to do that thing just to incorporate more fun into our homeschool. Okay, so let's talk about math. So I told you guys that I am looking for a new math curriculum for my daughter. Not enjoying the good and the beautiful. And my mother-in-law also helps with my nephew doing school once a week. And she said that she wanted a more manipulative, heavy homeschool for math. So I looked at Matthew C, really liked it, but then I saw Right Start Mathematics. And I'm heavily considering Right Start Mathematics because it's mastery based as well. They're very similar to Matthew C and Right Start Mathematics. I'm going to ask a friend what they think about it, but I think that's the catalog. They have lots of manipulatives. So the main one that they have at this age is this abacus. It's a double-sided abacus. This side teaches counting and this side teaches place value. So the way she did this demonstration was just brilliant. She said, humans think and we recognize bodies of 5. So like 5, clearly we've got 5 fingers on each hand, but our eyes, mentally, we recognize groups of 5. And so on the abacus, it has groups of 5 in blue and groups of 5 in yellow. And so it helps you learn how to add by recognizing, okay, so if we have 5 and we add 1 yellow, we know that's 6 because we know that the blues are in 5s. And so it teaches the child how to recognize mentally that math. And so it just made a lot of sense. But they also had other manipulatives. But this one I really thought would be a really cool visualization, especially if you have a very tactile learner. They had this math balance. They have a math balance junior as well. But this is one that they had on display. And so this side is the sum side, what it all equals to. And this side is what addition. So on the board it says 5 and 2 and the sum is 7. So it's always going to weigh. So it helps the child learn if they're doing it wrong. So if you say, what's 5 plus 2? They put a 5 and then let's say they misheard you and they put a 3. And then they're like, well, I know it's 7, but it's like not balancing or things like that. It just provides a visual aspect to it. They also had these fraction charts where it's like a whole board of fractions that make a whole, and then it's like broken up for different fractions. I don't know if you can see that there, but they had other things, different manipulatives. They had this little Judy clock. I got 3 of these, one for my nephew and one for my son, one for my daughter. So it was just a lot of fun. Really considering Right Start Mathematics. But my favorite booth, other than the book publishers, was Simply Charlotte Mason. Simply Charlotte Mason had a ginormous booth there. And it was so fun to finally see Simply Charlotte Mason out in the wild, because if I'm not going to do Ambleside Online in the future, I will more than likely be doing Simply Charlotte Mason. And if you have ever looked at Ambleside Online, you know that the website's pretty terrible. It's very old. They keep it that way on purpose because they have a lot of missionaries overseas who use that curriculum to homeschool overseas. And so it's really confusing. Not gonna lie, when you first look at that website, you're gonna be like, who made this? Like, maybe they're the ones who are schizophrenic, honestly. But it's truly a rich curriculum. You just got to get through that website and slog through it. And if you are not somebody who has the time or the capacity to slog through that website, I highly recommend Simply Charlotte Mason. If you want to do a Charlotte Mason homeschool, if you want to read to your kids and be heavy in reading with them, Simply Charlotte Mason is the way to go. So they had a quick guide to Charlotte Mason homeschool. I have not looked looked through this yet, but everything they have ever put out is amazing. I listened to the podcast that they have. And so at their booth, they had a few things. Oh, hold on. Pause. Little Judy clocks. They had the big Judy clocks that we had growing up in public school there for $25, which isn't bad. I should have gotten one because I love those things in school. I would ask my teacher if I could just play with the clock. So I stopped by their booth, and Karen Glass is one of the creators of Ambleside Online. She's part of the advisory, and she and 5 other ladies wrote the Ambleside curriculum. 2 of the ladies have passed away through unfortunate circumstances, but Karen Glass is still on the advisory, still very active. They do this free. They don't have to. But she wrote this book called Know and Tell, and it's about narration, and she actually teaches narration to a college in San Francisco, I believe it is. She recently did a podcast about that. But I have heard nothing but amazing things about this book and just how it teaches you how to teach your children to narrate and to tell it back. And so I got this book there. They also had, and that's not necessarily a part of the Simply Charlotte Mason curriculum. They recommend reading it though, because it does teach you how to teach in the Charlotte Mason style. I also had this book, Mother Culture by Karen Andreola. The Andreolas they used to live in England. If I'm getting my story correctly, they used to live in England, and they learned about Charlotte Mason, who was British. And while they were over there, and they decided to bring back Charlotte Mason's works to the United States. I think they had been out of print for a long time. Charlotte died in 1928, I want to say. And so they had been in the public domain and had been out of print for a long time because she just fell out. Like, very few people had heard of her at that point. She had just become less well known after her death. And so the Andreolas brought back Charlotte Mason's books. She has 6 books, and they brought them back to the United States in their original pink covers. Well, at least the Andreola pink covers. But they brought those over, and so she has all these different books. Book is from 2018, and it is Mother Culture for a Happy Homeschool. And Karen says, Mother culture is the skillful art of how a mother looks after the ways of her household. With a thinking love, she creates a culture in the home all her own. A mother does a lot of taking care, so she needs to take care of herself too. As a mother is feeding and cultivating the souls of her children, she is nourishing her own soul with ideas, while taking a little time for her own play and creativity. Nourished and refreshed, she keeps growing closer to God and into the Christian woman God is designing her to be. So she educated all of her children from K through 12 at home, and it says they fueled the revival of Charlotte Mason's philosophy of education when they republished Miss Mason's writings in 1989. She's the OG. So I have wanted this book for a while. I saw Jamie Valmet. I follow her on Goodreads, and I saw that she had read it, and then she talked about it in her podcast, and I was like, I need to read this book. I just had this feeling that I needed to read it. I had no idea what it was about. But then I opened the page, and it opened up to encouraging sibling relationships in the home. I've been struggling with that, and so I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna do this. So Mother Culture. But then Simply Charlotte Mason had this, and I have not read Charlotte Mason's works yet. They are in an older style of writing. I am in a very busy season, and I've always felt like I don't have the time to dedicate to reading what she has to say. I have read bits and pieces because I'm reading Ambleside Online's the advisory's book, 6 Voices, 1 Story, and they have bits and pieces of Charlotte's works in there, and it talks about how they created Ambleside. So I've read bits and pieces, but I've never dedicated myself to reading the whole book. So this is not the book, like, this is what it usually looks like, that pink cover. They have some other covers now, but this is Charlotte's books. That's the actual page, what it would look like in that pink book, but it has a wide margin for taking notes. And I thought that was brilliant, especially if you struggle to read an older English writing style. this would be great. So you can go slower and you can take notes and you can notate and maybe even use sticky notes or underline and things like that. And if you don't want to ruin Charlotte's books, but you still want to have them on your shelf, this would be a great option for you. So I got her first one, Home Education. I'm very excited to read this. I love Charlotte. I love her heart. On Ambleside, it talks about the PNEU school that she started for laborer children the children of laborers in England, and just her heart to make them masters of what's the word I'm looking for? She believed that even children of laborers who were not going to go to college, more than likely, were not going to become great orators, were not going to become doctors or teachers, more than likely. She still believed that they deserved an education that would prepare them to do that, whether or not they were able to or decided to do so. And so I just believe in that philosophy myself. I've always believed that. I believe that we are doing a disservice by passing kids in subjects that they're not masters of, but also, you know, we're holding them back from the ability to be great. And Charlotte believed that children are born persons. They deserve respect, the same respect that adults deserve. And so just her whole philosophy has always been something that I've personally believed but never have put words to, I guess. And so I'm really excited to read her works. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all the books that I have. If I find anything else, I'll tell you. But I also got this Adventures in Odyssey CD. My daughter loves these. These were a little expensive. The booth that I got it from, I don't remember. I was just a little put off by the price of some things. It was $15 for this. I know it's a CD. I know it's a little ancient. Price seems a little high. Let's see. Why is there a half-eaten rotten banana in here? I don't know. That's what life with children is like. That's from Maine Creative Art Academy. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Got a lot of different things. I did stop by the Weston A. Price booth. Love them. Love their philosophy on real food. I'm not going to share those because I didn't really like them. Let's see. Oh, this is part of the National Park Mysteries. That was one of their bookmarks that they had. I think that is it. Yeah, so that's the curriculums that I bought. I will do another video, hopefully, on what we're going to do. I want to do another video on the fall when we start a new curriculum. I want to do that. I really want to start buying that soon. I kind of wanted to start Math UC or Right Start Math this summer, but I think I'm going to hold off because we're almost finished. We're a little bit more than halfway through with the Good and Beautiful Math, and I think we can finish that and be okay. The Good and Beautiful Reading, we're going to continue that. I don't want to waste the curriculum that I have, especially in the busy season like I'm in, where I'm still trying to figure out my work schedule with homeschooling, and it's summertime and things are just a little crazy. And I just spent a lot of money at the book fair, essentially. So yeah, that's what we're at, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll try to make it a little bit shorter next time if you don't have the time to watch it, but that's what it was like going to the NCHE Thrive conference this year. So have a good day.